What's up, everybody? We are waiting to get Mr. Andy Hnilo on the live here. We got everybody saying hi, hello, hello. Tomas, what's up? I know that I didn't give a lot of heads up on this live, but you know, this is how it goes. Can you guys hear me? Can everyone hear me? I don't know if I have this. Yeah, I think I do have it. So we're just waiting for Andy to sign on. And while we're doing that, I am going to wave at everybody. This is kind of fun. I promise that I will start to do more lives in the future. I plan on doing like a virtual book tour, and I'm going to be talking about some novel technologies that I've been working with. And as most things go when it comes to technology, I realize that we have some learning curves here and there. So let's all be patient. So Andy is the founder and creator of Alitura. So once we get him on, we're going to talk about how he came up with this amazing company called Alitura, and we'll talk about the various products that he's created, why he even started the company. He's got an amazing story. I've known him for many years, but this will be the first time that we've actually communicated on a live platform. So I'm going to try again to find him. I don't know what's up, but again, sometimes these things do this. So I guess until we do get Andy on, I could chat and communicate with a few of you guys and see if you have any questions or any comments. You know what is interesting? I will say this. So I posted a video of a pair of shoes that I found, some old school Vivo barefoot shoes. And for some reason, I don't know why, but several people commented that the shoes look like toddler shoes. And I can say wholeheartedly that they are not toddler shoes. They are my shoes. I wear size 12. I got a big foot. You know what they say, big feet, big socks. So yeah. Yeah. So we got a lot of people. There's some people on here I haven't seen in a long time. I don't know where Andy is. It says Alitura is unable to join. Let me see if I can go to Andy's his personal page. No, I don't know why. So I may have to sign back on, and we'll try to invite one more time. Oh, there we go. There we go. Here we go. Andy's here. All right, everybody, bear with me.
How you doing, man? Hey, I'm so sorry I'm late. I apologize, hey. Josh.
No, not at all, man. I was late. I was just coming back from downtown, and you know, it's all good. We're here.
Hey, it's really nice to meet. I mean, meet you. Do you go by Joshua or Josh? What do you prefer? Josh, right on, man. Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah,
you've
likewise.
Been 2014. I definitely remember you, and I think a friend of yours. I mean, you just I think it was after the first or second clay mass. You were just extremely supportive, and I want to thank you for that, man. Thanks a lot.
No, I appreciate you, and you know, what I was kind of talking about to the audience before you came on, I was just mentioning how, you know, I've known of you since, you know, like you said, like 2014 or even before, and I was really inspired by your story. And so I think, like, you know, there's a lot of people who maybe don't know your story, but like the story is amazing. And I couldn't help but notice that, like, you know, I think one of the big takeaways I gained from your story was that, like, if we put things on our body, it should be things that we'd be willing to eat. And just from there, I'm like, wow, you know, you were doing modeling, you had this car crash, and you know, so it's an amazing story, and I respect everything you've done, and you know, I've got all the goods, man.
Thank you, man. Now, Well, you know how it is. No, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. It's just, you know, we go through adversity. It's just how you respond to it. You know, resilience is everything to me. I mean, I went through a lot of, I know, I'd like to think athletics helped with that. I don't know. Were you an athlete back in the day?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
martial
What sport?
arts and
Okay.
basketball.
Nice.
I played basketball at a very high level, and I still play, but you know, I played in middle school, high school, college, and then I played a little bit professionally overseas,
Oh,
things
no
like
way.
that. Yeah,
I
yeah,
had no idea. Two guard,
yeah.
point, or what?
Point guard, shooting guard. I was because I'm 6 foot,
Yeah.
and you know, playing at that level, like I wasn't tall enough to be a legit two guard at that level. But you know, the teams couldn't deny the fact that I could shoot lights out, and I still can. So, uh,
Oh, nice.
so I had to learn how to become a bona fide point guard with the ability to shoot, and so it was kind of a double threat.
That's all. Where'd you go to school?
So I'm from Oklahoma,
Okay.
and I went to a small college. First, I went to a junior college called Rose State College, which is a small junior college in the middle of Oklahoma City. And then I went to a 4-year university called Northwestern Oklahoma State University, which is
Okay.
also another small school. But we were in the SAC conference, and it was one of the most toughest conferences in the country. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like up there ranked with some of the D1 conferences.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like in my conference, the top 10 teams, all of them were in my conference. So you know, it was a very very competitive way to play. But yeah, I sports is kind of my everything, man.
Oh, me too. I get it. Hey, so when I was a junior, going into my senior year in high school, I went to. I don't know if you're familiar with McAllister, Oklahoma.
Of course, of
Yeah.
course.
Hey, I love that. I mean, oh man, I'll never forget that. Ernie, I stayed on with his host family. I was on Team California. You know, we play Team Georgia, Texas, Florida, Arizona. Anyway, it was like a state versus state classic called the Sunbelt Classic. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
of
Oh,
course,
right
yeah,
on. Yeah. No,
yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah. We stay with host families. I mean, Ernie, we used to stock the pond from one line to the other, check it in the middle of the morning. Anyway, I had some of my best times ever in
That's
McAllister,
so cool.
Oklahoma, man. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big prison. I mean, not that this is like
Yep.
a big thing, but like they're known for their prison.
Yeah.
And they also are like back when I was like I'm 40, by the way. I don't know if you knew that or not, but yeah, are you? So
I
the same
just did
age.
last week, or yeah, 2 weeks
Oh,
ago. Yeah.
happy belated, bro.
Thank you.
I
Shit feels
turned
good.
I turned 40 in June, so I beat you by a couple months. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think this is also kind of a good segue into like I get compliments quite a bit
Yep.
on my skin and my youthfulness and things like that, and I think it goes the same for you. You know, it's like I get people commenting, like even when I posted that we're doing this live, people are like, wow, he looks like a superhero, you know, like a, you know. But I think that's a really cool thing because you know some of your background, and maybe we should go into that a little bit more, but like, you know, you did the modeling thing, and you know, but your face, your likeness is your brand, right? And you know, the fact that you do what you do to take care of it, I think is very very important, and it is for me as well. You
Mhm.
know, so I felt like when we had this opportunity to chat, I wanted people to kind of see the various ways to take care of your skin and take care of your health, because our skin represents what's happening on the inside of us, right? So if we've got good looking skin, we feel good, we have confidence. But you know, a lot of times when we're stressed out, you know, we've got bags under our eyes, we've got pimples, we've got all kinds of things,
Right.
and there's ways to mitigate it. But why don't you talk about your background, and maybe people can understand more about who you are.
Yeah. No, thanks. I mean, I completely agree. And I got into this when I was in, you know, my later years in high school, when I'm growing into my body. So many teenagers, I mean, as far, and women as well, as far as you're growing into your body. Well, we'll start with the teenagers. Growing into your body, your hormones are racing. I didn't eat, you know, that clean at all. I had, you know, was obsessed with creatine. I was in a high sugar diet, you know, dorm food. When I went to UC Berkeley out of high school, I used to, yeah, played baseball, went to UC Berkeley on a baseball scholarship, but that's where it all started because I wanted to gain weight. I went to Berkeley at 168 pounds and just got really started working out and becoming, you know, had to put on weight. so I put on 23 pounds, but in the process of doing that, I was eating horribly. And then I had back acne, cystic back acne, to the point where I didn't even want to turn around. So it was crippling emotionally in that locker room. You know, ball players, I mean, my teammates were the worst to me, but yeah. And so I started dissecting what I was consuming. I mean, at 18 years old, I was just like, man, it would stick around for a little bit, but it just became, I started cutting down from, you know, the sweets into like the spinach, the tuna, just little stuff here and there, making sandwiches as opposed to pizza. But year over year, the passion started to grow. However, when I was still at Berkeley, there were a lot of Chinese herbalists. Right, I remember right down the street on Shattuck, there was this. I don't know. Definitely don't remember the name, but I went in and asked about certain herbs to cleanse the system. That's when I found out about aqueous silica extract, and Wu. I mean, I was 18. I started that right away, just to help vitality. I started, for whatever reason, I started to grow little gray hairs and a little goatee that I had, and so I'd read up on multiflorum, which is like the Latin name for Hoshiwu foti. And it reverses, it's like it just helps, it supposedly reverses gray hair, but at the same time, it definitely has helped with that on my end. But I've, you know, and that's in our supplement as well. So I've been taking this, you know,
Perfect.
2 years. So it's just, it's just the overall health, well-being, feeling good, and just kind of creating that ripple effect. It makes, you know, you're going to treat everyone you come across personally and professionally, you know, better when you feel good, when you leave the house. But it was so crippling for so long because of some little thing. It starts your day off the worst way. You know, it's like, oh man, it's the first thing you see, roll out of bed, go to the restroom or whatever, bathroom. And then it's, you know, you see it, and it's, man, that'll leave a lot of people in a funk for the rest of the day. I mean, it's just, acne is the worst.
Yeah.
And so it's just many, you know, it's just, that's a big thing that actually Ben Greenfield and I are going to be talking about when we shoot our next podcast. And I think January, teenage, like just getting a really good, making teenagers aware, getting the big brands that just dry out your skin with harsh government recognized carcinogens and their products. They just dry it out, and then now you feed it with the moisturizer, and then they get you on auto ship, and you just, and I even had an employee of mine who was on Accutane and also well, and he was just like, yeah, you know, the side effects are you're depressed, but it cleans your skin up.
Right.
Like, but you're going to be depressed if you don't. You're, you know, it's like, so you're depressed either way. Which one would you rather be depressed in? And it's, man, there's another alternative. You can get it from the earth as well. Well, there's
Absolutely
not. It's, I mean, there's so many good green beauty brands out there. Audacity, Osea. I feel like we're up there. Amorigiani.
Of course you are.
Yeah. And so it's just, I really want to simplify that. There's a way to disrupt this industry big time. I mean, it's,
of course,
it costs a little bit more, but take some money out of your huge, you know, marketing campaigns that you're throwing into print, which who knows how well that converts, and just put more into your products. It's not that hard. I can't believe, like, you know, I can't say the name obviously, but fragrances. Why not just switch up your alcohol to organic alcohol? Because it's primarily, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not come up with a more, you know, like, I'll never understand that. I'll never understand that, man.
Well, you know, I think something that's interesting is the fact that, you know, we're both 40 years old, and we're both males. And I think there's not a lot, at least in my circles, there's not a lot of talk about male skincare, right? Because it's unless, you know, like there are some conversations in the fighting sports, you know, because of like getting the cauliflower ear and things to kind of get rid of fungus and things like that, so that doesn't grow more. But I think it's interesting that now, since we're both here talking, like maybe we could talk a little bit more about how guys take care of our skin, right? And our hair, because, you know, the skin on the head is the same skin as the rest of the body.
Right.
And so in order to be able to take care of my hair, I got to understand what to take, what not to take. And I actually am impressed that most people that ask me about like what I take for my skin, they're always surprised when I literally say I put cold water on my face every morning. I mean, I just put cold water on my face. Now, there are times when I do use, and I'm not saying this just because you're on the show, but there are times when I use the clay mask, and this is going to be times when, you know, like let's say I come off of a flight, or I just had a very stressful week, or let's face it, like I've been out and about, you know, in New York City here with a lot of like smog and environmental toxins. Okay, there are going to be times when I do a clay mask, but I really try to stand by the statement of less is more.
Right.
And I've been so fortunate and blessed to be able to live a lifestyle that I eat well enough, and my skin shows that, you know.
Right.
So let's talk about that. Like, do you, I would assume that the majority of your customers are female based, right? Or
Right.
no?
Yes,
Yeah.
70/30. Seventy
Interesting.
thirty. Yeah. And a
Yeah.
lot of people think it's a men's line. And I'm like, hey, well, the numbers speak for themselves. But it's a great subject. It's something that, you know, when I first got into this, I mean, I was hiding the fact of how much I, took care of my skin. I mean, before the accident, I mean, Sunday night,
Yep.
I'd hide in, away from my roommates, do a little clay mask, scurry into my room and then let it dry, scurry into the bathroom, rinse it off. Oh, like nothing happened. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where I just kind of hit it to prepare for, I mean, but it was a pre-existing 4-clay mask that I had before the accident with a little kelp powder that I would do every Sunday night just to prep for auditions throughout the week. And, but that's the thing though. It's like nobody really talks about it. And then, leading up even to that podcast with Dave, we hadn't talked about skincare at all, or even bringing it up on that podcast. Obviously, I'm really glad that we did, but
Yeah.
it's one of those things. And then I started demoing the product. When was it? Yeah, that over the summer in Chicago, just to the Cubs, one product. You know what I mean? The clay mask, just a little. But you see guys that walk by and they're like, no, because they're used to certain things, whether it's supplements or
Yeah.
other things that they're going to be, maybe endorsing, suits, clothes, you name it. But skincare, but I'm telling you, they started to drift back. And then luckily a former teammate of mine was on the Cubs and kind of told them a little bit more about it. And then, so they'd come back to my little booth there or whatever. And I mean, passion, it's true though. You look good, you feel good. Who knows, those post-game interviews, they want to be on point. It's
Of
going to,
course.
I think we care a lot more than we'd like to admit, you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
it's just, whether it's, more marketable from a professional standpoint, more higher,
Yep.
whatever it is,
Yep.
just, exhibiting and showing your youth, your own biggest business card, so to speak, on that professional level. And then personally feeling better about yourself. And then also like the ripple effect that you're going to create naturally just through better energy and feeling better about yourself when you leave the door every day, and that's,
Well said.
yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because this industry, and when I say this industry, I mean like the world is really gravitating more towards video, and
Mhm.
this is something that I've noticed, and as I do research for various content and things like that, I'm noticing like everything is gravitating towards video,
Mhm.
and it's interesting now that more people are starting to focus on looking better. And of course, there's the extremes, right? There's the Photoshop, and there's the makeups, and there's the this and that. But when you can look good from within because of what you're doing to take care of yourself, I think that's the most empowering standpoint to come from, and
Absolutely.
it's just like what you said. It's like you like I knew coming here, like I could come from doing a few sessions downtown and literally like scurry into an interview, you
Mhm.
know, and it would be really unfortunate if I had to say, you know what, I need to, delay another 30 minutes because I have to put on makeup or I have to do a scrub or whatever.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so how about like let's talk a little bit about I think it would be important to talk about the products, and because like if I had to identify my favorites, I would definitely say I have three. Okay, and this is no joke. I use it. I actually just finished my gold serum yesterday, but this is a new one. So so the gold serum is probably my number one. I use it the most. The,
Nice.
the gold serum, and so maybe you can tell people about that.
Yeah.
Then the other one that is my favorite, and I use it probably second most, is
Right.
this.
Nice. Yes. Oh man.
Remember, I hit you up about this, I think, when you were first talking about this, like, on the social media sphere. I'm like, I want to get my hands on it. I think you were kind of, what do you call it? Doing like a vote to see like what people would like, this or that. And I'm like, yeah, bro, like when that's ready, let me get some of it. So anyway, so I'm happy for that. That's the Essence, or the Presence, sorry, the Presence cologne, or what would you call that? Yeah, like parfum. And
Yeah.
then
Unisex fragrance. Kind of like,
yeah,
my first one that I used to collect. Oh, sorry, but anyway, it's kind of like, CK1. Remember way back.
yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
that was my first fragrance. So that's about, I kind of wanted to stay on that same route, let the customer decide what they like, what smells
Right.
good. You know?
Bro, I remember CK1, and I remember back in the day, like not being able to, I grew up very poor, but I grew up not being able to afford CK1. So I would get like our version of,
Yeah.
our version of CK1. It'd be like CKD12. But anyway,
I know what you're talking about. I know, I know what you're talking about. I'll just leave
yeah.
it. Yeah.
And then the next favorite one is the actual clay mask, which I think is
Yeah.
your staple product, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
so let's talk about just a few of these, because I figure, why not? You're the
Yeah.
man behind the brand, so let's hear it.
Oh man. So with the clay mask, we'll start off with the clay mask. That was my first product just right after the accident that I was in. I had that pre-existing 4 clay mask with a little bit of kelp powder that I would just throw together, just in an effort to, throw together in the bathroom before, and then I started to realize I had that in my back pocket to just create a lot of blood flow and circulation to the surface of the skin. And clays are so loaded in minerals, and minerals that we're so depleted of them as we age, and it just reintroduces a lot of good minerals that we're lacking to maintain that good collagen, that good thick collagen exterior. So what we do, what I had after that was, I was making a little morning tonic, and I had colostrum in there, deer placenta, egg yolks, let's see, pearl powder, Hoshi Blue, Schizandra, Gynostemma, ashwagandha. I mean, you name it.
Deer placenta.
Yeah.
I love how you just glossed over that one. Some people are probably like, wait, what? Deer placenta, everybody.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's, my jaw was wired shut. I had no teeth, couldn't chew. I just need to read, I met with so many different Chinese herbalists in the LA area, Ron Teagarden, what's his, Sage Dammers, Crosby Ware. And I would just pick their brains with my jaw wired shut like this, trying to talk to them, no teeth. It was,
The Kanye.
but yeah, but I would just, I came up with this tonic to build myself from the inside out and clean my blood from all the CT scan, X-rays, antibiotics that I was on, just to, and painkillers and things like that. So I want to build my blood and circulate it from head to toe, and then also just get as many nutrient dense, adaptogenic herbs, Chinese herbs, you name it, just to help reduce a lot of that inflammation as well. And so that's, in doing that, I would, I didn't have much money at the time, but everything the money I did have, I just invested right back into myself to just recover as quick as I could. And so that's where the colostrum and pearl powder comes in. It's super expensive, but one day I broke open a capsule of Jing herbs, freshwater pearl powder, and threw it in the mask that I was making, because every day, every hour of every day, pretty much after the accident, my recovery just had a purpose to it, like an obsessive routine, just to regenerate myself and just build myself back and see if I can get back with the goal of just being in better shape than I was before the accident. People tell me like, well, you're not going to work again. Obviously you don't want to hear that. And is you getting money out of it? No, it was my fault. Like it was,
Oh shit.
yeah. So I just it's just, yeah. So anyway, I didn't have much money, so I just invested into building myself back, And so some of the ingredients that I would put internally, I just experiment pearl powder, colostrum. The particle size was so fine, Josh, that, and it mixed well with obviously the other ingredients. I tried, a lot of things didn't work. Matcha powder in the mask, that just didn't really flow well. But it all came down to the particle size in the colostrum that we were using. First 4-hour milking grass-fed colostrum from a small family-owned farm in Wyoming. Just it was like silk. And then also when combined with the pearl powder, American ginseng, and then ultimately I added ascorbic acid as well to the blend. And I started, it just created a lot of circulation to the surface of the skin, which mitigated a lot of that swelling that I had. Also would heal a lot of the abrasions that I had all over my face and body as well. But also increasing a lot of blood flow to a huge gash that I had right here, which was a very thick, like almost just it was an emergency room, Yeah, I mean, it wasn't my surgeon called it a chop job. So they could, I don't know, so there were like little railroad tracks over here, but over time it just staying consistent with the mask. And then I followed up with it's now our night cream, but I would just make a paste of beeswax, cacao butter, manuka honey, colostrum, sea buckthorn oil, and just apply that to that area after using the mask. And it's just interesting how it all flowed from that standpoint. But so that's the clay mask right there. It's just it's a blend of 4 clays, but and also with superfoods and a stimulating effect from the ascorbic acid to just really brighten up the epidermis and to just really increase blood flow and get those stagnant capillaries moving right around the face. And I really feel like it can fill the color and the brightening aspect. I feel like it can fill in some of those crow's feet fine lines right around. Release a lot of that congestion around the T-zone right here,
Yeah, of course.
And also the puffiness as well. I do it almost every morning, man. I mean, I recommend 1 to 3 times a week, but I mean, I've stuff to prepare for, and I want to feel my best. So that's what I do. So yeah, that's the clay mask.
One of the things that I recall and I really think needs to be mentioned, and I applaud you for is, and I don't know if you're still doing it this way or not, but I recall seeing various videos and photos of you literally packing this thing with your own hands, and like that's something special, man. Are you still doing that? Have you graduated from the garage yet?
Yeah, no, I graduated from the garage in 2017. So I went a good solid 3 years there. Hey, but I loved it though. I mean, one day off, Sunday, I mean, if it was open Sunday, I would have gone every day. I mean, it was, I'm getting chills right now. My calves thinking about it. It was just, I mean, I had something that I built. I mean, it was just for about 1.5 years, 2 years. It's just testing. It's so awkward moving forward, asking for people to pay, like my friends and stuff. But luckily someone wouldn't, man, who was it? Jen Pena. And then was my first sale. And then the second one was my Bank of America account opener for my business account. The second one.
Ah, that's amazing.
Yeah. It was cool. So, but man, where was I go? Yeah. As far as that go, I mean, Dave gave me a deadline. He invested in the company, but I had, a little bit of direction, but he was writing the Bulletproof Diet at that time. He was writing a book. I believe it was a Bulletproof Diet at the time. It may have been his second one, but I'm not sure. So he was pretty, he was busy. And, but I, just, you find a way, right? And so I just,
of course.
Hall brought, had to be, hundreds of pounds of 9 ingredients up to Malibu. I had, 1 month to complete the project. I mean, if you only knew, I mean, I had a little dingy Honda Accord at the time. I went to Kmart. I strapped down a kiddie pool to the top of and then drove out. First one flew off. Second one made it up there. I bought a horse trough, but it didn't get all the way to the bottom. I would rent little mud mixers from Home Depot, but I should have bought one. It was $19.99. I did it like 25 times, but you can buy one for like $99. But so I should have bought one. But yeah, it was just all the way to the the kiddie pool was just about 12 to 18 inches high maybe, but the horse trough was like 2.5 feet, so I couldn't get all the way to the bottom. Really start to mix it perfectly because I had to do it myself in the beginning because all the co-packers that I visited were shortcutting my ingredients, and then also California has a state law where they radiate the clay, they zap your formula, and so they kill all the life. So I got it made out here in Nevada instead. So yeah, I don't know if I've touched on that before, but it took forever.
Wow.
Yeah, there were a lot of people like King Herbs. The Pearl powder is extremely expensive, and it's 10% of our formula. So if you go over to, you can find different forms of it, but I mean, you can also find it for a fraction of the cost. And I visited 3 different manufacturers that all had issues with my non-negotiable, ingredient text. And so I was like, if you can't trust certain people to make something that's so important to me, obviously just got to do it yourself and look elsewhere. But at the same time, like zapping the clays and zapping the formula was not something I wanted to do. So that also took a lot of time to find a co-packer to do so. But yeah, I mean, right, when initially in 2014, it was just a beautiful adrenaline-filled moment that still, I mean, hasn't really left, and I'm still real.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, man. Yeah. Anytime I see anything, and again, I've always kept it with me. I think even for a while, back in like around that time, 2017, 2018, I was training a lot of like fashion models here in New York, and I still do, but then I was like in the thick of it. I was kind of known as like the model trainer. And I remember having like a decent amount, and I think you guys even sent me some samples, and I was giving it to the girls because it's like, it's one thing to hear someone talk about it and hear your story, but it's another thing to actually try it. Mm-hmm. And I always say, and I think you guys came out with the smaller ones that are like the small clay mask. Once people actually try it, it's like a no-brainer because it feels so good. Like honestly, like
yeah.
What I think about it when I put it on, especially if you get the amount of water right when you mix it, mm-hmm. It froths up very, very nice. And when you put it on, it feels like you're putting velvet on your face, man. It's so nice.
I agree. And then, so just a little post-flight trick. I mean, just because, whether red eye or whatever. Thanks for saying that. I appreciate it, man. I mean, it's
no problem.
That's my baby right there. It's if you do a couple brushes of the derma roller, just kind of create a little, wake that area up, and then pat a little gold serum around there and a little night cream during the flight, depending on how long the flight is. I mean, it definitely helps if you have to go directly into something. So just a little tip, because I know you travel a lot, but
definitely.
Yeah, man, it's with the clay mask. I mean, it's a very it's a back bar treatment. It's hundreds of med spas all around the world, and so it's that combined with the gold serum. I mean, keeping it simple with the routine of microneedling is huge now, but I just use our derma roller to open up the epidermis, and then you put on the clay mask, warm up the skin a little bit, open up the pores. I use apple cider vinegar, and I throw in a little clary sage, ylang ylang, lemongrass, blood orange, and frankincense, sometimes sandalwood, whatever. So it adds a little aromatherapy to it. And then you let it completely dry, get those, full capillary constriction, rinse it off, and then apply a moisturizer, night cream to seal in the results while you sleep, while you're in one position for hours. I mean, the best time to do so. It's that's the routine right there.
I love it.
Yeah.
Lot of quality info here, people. Like this is coming straight from Mr. Hnilo himself. So what was the next sort of product in the pipeline?
So I just listened to customers. I mean, they recommended like, well, what do you recommend as a moisturizer? And I really couldn't, recommend anyone. So I just went to work on one. I've been really big on olive oil and making my own little concoctions. Like I said, I had that little night cream. So I started, the paste at the time. It wasn't my second product. That was definitely my third, because I didn't know what to do with that. But so the second product was a moisturizer, and it took 22 tweaks, because 22 tweaks. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, it's obviously we're paying for revisions, but so 10 in. Well, the reason is because we couldn't get the organic certifications, the certificates for a few of the oils, and we wanted at that point to go USDA certified organic, but I didn't want to disrupt my label. That's the only reason I didn't. So I didn't want that. Yeah, it's a trip at the time, but now I use a lot of wildcrafted, which in my opinion, from all around the world, I think I really, because a lot of people can't afford the USDA certification, like
of course
audits and things like that. And some of the most beautiful ingredients are, from all around the world. So sometimes you have to do what you have to do. And obviously testing is one of the best parts of sourcing. So, so the moisturizer, we released, I believe, that fall. And it was, 95% 5% certified organic. We have a little German blue chamomile. It's in a base of bee products, propolis, pollen, beeswax, honey, royal jelly, from a small family-owned farm in Haleiwa, Hawaii, and North Shore. Yeah, and so I feel, Alitura is Latin for, feeding and nourishing, and I can't hit home on how important it is to treat your skin like another mouth. It's that important.
Agreed.
What you rub on top of your largest organ, your skin, is absorbed into your bloodstream within seconds, right? I think 20 or 30 seconds that it's in. And so if you're, daily, just massaging in these toxins, maybe deodorant, hairspray, shampoo, you name it. There's a study, Anthony Gustin from Perfect Keto on one of his podcasts mentioned that on average, women leave the house with over 200 chemicals on, from lipstick to hairspray. I need to get that study because that's frightening, daily.
Yeah.
And so that's a big thing for me. I have 2 older sisters, a mother. It's just the light of my life, and they're prettiest to me when then they're not wearing makeup, and just explain that to them. But you do whatever you want, but at least make it clean. You don't want to disrupt your endocrine system, your hormones. It's just so just pay attention to your ingredient decks. It's costs the manufacturer more or us more, but the people that don't go that extra mile, be very wary of them. You know what I mean? It's
Of course.
A lot of truth, transparency is coming to the surface these days, and I'm very, very. It's so important to me.
Yeah. This is such a very fascinating discussion because, I think, like when you mentioned the whole like wildcrafted versus organic, a lot of times, like it's nice to see that a place has the USDA organic label, but I think it's even better sometimes just knowing exactly whatever you're consuming or you're utilizing, knowing exactly where it comes from. That to me is more important than a USDA organic label.
Absolutely.
So, if you can visit, the farms, or you can visit the manufacturing facilities, things like that, like right. This means a lot more to me because let's face it, the labels, it's a whole money grab anyway, right? It's a money grab. So it's like, So anyway, so I appreciate your diligence in that. And I think that's important to note. I think it's important for people to hear. It's a good one.
No, thank you. I do the sourcing, the formulating myself, like the selection of the ingredient decks and just the research. And then, I'll pick some people, a few friends of mine in the industry, I'll pick their brains a little bit and just kind of see, the latest and greatest and find out about that. But that's the most fun for me is the formulation for sure. It takes a lot longer. I have a chemist now. A few different chemists based on the different products that we're making all around the country. And so it's just, it's a creative outlet for me. I never would have thought that I'd be, so passionate about creating skincare products, but I guess it all makes sense when you really think about it. I really geeked out about this, like early on. My first clay mask, I think I did when I was about 19 or 20. It was that Aztec healing clay. Yeah. And I know it. Yeah. Those things, it's just one ingredient. But it was just undeniably effective. When I was going creative, just trying to figure it out, just figure acne out and different products. I was using big name brands and eating terribly, and then I switched to Dove, which had 5 ingredients. I think a few different coconut derived surfactants, which at that time, for whatever reason, I looked, I've been extremely passionate about this. This thing's been staring me in the face my whole life. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. So it's an extremely impactful industry, extremely impactful. So that was our second product right there, the moisturizer. So we finally put a bow on that. We got, we made a little package. The growth of the business has been slower than usual because I don't have a team in the trenches, but I don't have, it's all just, it was especially in the beginning, just generating, all right, what's next? What do we do? I didn't even have my first sale until my birthday. I didn't even know how to, with Shopify and MailChimp. I was like, just did a buy one, get one free in 2014. But this was a legitimate, just learning on the go story, but just maintaining incredible integrity and treating other people. Yeah. But how you'd like to be treated. Just,
of course. Of course.
beyond transparent with a little too much, a little oversharing to the point where, but that's what it's all about. It's just true transparency, man.
Yeah, dude, you're a walking testimony. So, you know, it doesn't surprise me that you got connected with someone as big as Dave Asprey. And you know, obviously I think he has the influence to be able to really on one hand help you, right, to come up with the various protocols and things like that, but also I think just to be able to give you support and advice when needed. And I think that's just powerful. So kudos to you for doing everything to get to the point to being able to just explode.
Thank you, man.
So then what I think about next, and I want to make sure that we talk about this, and of course, feel free to talk about anything you want to talk about, but I want to make sure we talk about what's in the pipeline, because given all of the hard work and the time and money and the formulations spent in the former days, I would imagine that you've refined that process a bit, and I would assume that you have some exciting things in the pipeline. Is that true?
Yes. Yeah, we do. We have 2 different deodorants coming out.
Ooh,
man.
Yes.
I really want this sunscreen to be out by, it's called Alitura Soul, little accent over the O. Like sunscreen, that's just one thing that nobody's really nailed yet. You know?
I know.
And so I don't use one. I don't. But if it's one of those things, I mean, maybe if I'm out for hours and hours and hours, and I'll probably, use mine. But I mean, I really feel like personally, I really believe in the sun and the power of sunlight for our health, overall health. But I mean, for
absolutely.
And yeah,
I typically use. That's a good question. Or a good comment. I'm kind of the same, and being that I have darker pigmentation than you do, a little bit darker, just a little bit. I feel like I can go a little bit longer, but I always keep with me, especially if it's summertime and I'm in, places that have really intense rays, I will keep a little bit of wild crafted shea butter with me. And I've noticed that it also does a good job in protecting me from the element if I ever happen to get into like a swimming pool with chlorine and things like that. And so I've kind of gravitated towards things like that, but I'm very curious what this sunscreen is gonna be.
Oh man, it's good. Yeah, the initial stages, we have a little cacao plum, one of nature's highest source of vitamin C, red raspberry seed, non-nano zinc, little pearl powder. I'm telling you, it's beginning stages right now. We getting that film, and especially from an all natural side of things, just getting the white film, or you don't want that linger.
Yeah.
So that's fine tuning that, but it's going to happen. I can't wait.
Dude.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. I have so the 2 different deodorants. We have a lip plumper that I was thinking, a peptide derived lip plumper that it may turn, so obviously that it may turn into just like an SPF based Manuka honey, but just above and beyond chapstick or lip plumper, or we may do both. So that's in the initial stages right now as well. Hair and body wash, almost like a Castile soap, but I may go back on that and do a full on shampoo conditioner protocol with a whole different like hair specific line that I want to start called the Lion's Mane, with like a profile of a lion. I do stuff with hair all day long. I mean, I love it.
I need some help.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. You know what? I think Santal Black. I don't know. What do you use in that? Do you put any oils in that? What do you?
Good question.
Yeah.
Good. So, and again, like I like to do these conversations so that people know that, we're not just promoting any one thing, but we're talking about our experience, right? So like, for a while, so I've been a big fan of Uncle Harry's products.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've been a fan of Uncle Harry's for the longest in terms of like hair care. And so it's the ones I use is mostly wild crafted coconut oil and maybe like some rosemary and a few other essential oils and things like that. Right. But mostly just like coconut oil. But the problem with coconut oil, especially if it's not hot, is that it can clump up, and it can end up clogging the pores of the hair, especially with like with locks.
Right.
And so you need something that breathes. So it needs to be a little bit lighter in weight. So this is one of the things that caused me to start kind of looking around. So then I went through a couple months of using the Asir custom product by J. Campbell.
Okay.
And that was actually pretty good. And it's a peptide based product with some C60 fullerene and a
Oh,
few
really?
other. Yeah,
Oh, that's a
yeah.
step up from coconut oil a little bit.
Oh, it's good stuff. But here's the thing, like with all these things, I'm a biohacker at the end of the day. I love to try things, and in order to reach the scalp with my hair, you've got to move the locks apart. And when I had my hair in a style, I could only put the product in the rows, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that you have to actually get it in there. So this kind of goes back to your point with having the
Derma.
derma roller.
Yeah.
If I didn't have all this hair, I would be derma rolling my scalp and then applying it. But what I noticed is that there was a large amount of cake up, like it was caking up, and it would be flaky, like big chunks of old flakes would fall out of my hair every once in a while. And I'm like, what the hell is that? So I then did another round of it, and I realized that it was my mistake. Like I wasn't getting it well enough.
Mm-hmm.
So that was definitely my mistake. But since then, another product that I'm using now, and I think is probably the best so far because it's light, doesn't cake up, is the Yum Naturals brand. They're based out of Canada, I believe, and they use products based with DMSO.
Okay.
It's really good,
Right.
really good.
Yeah.
So, and they have this, I think it's called like a horsetail
Yep.
hair regrowth product.
Yeah.
Love it. I
Okay.
love it.
Yeah.
So,
So imagine rolling that into your. I'm going to send you a derma roller. Maybe just get it to sink in a little bit further. Roll that. I do that all the time. Yeah, that's a good call. That's a really good call. Hair care is so important. It's one of those things nobody's. Well, I mean, there's certain experience. People you hear the experiences of. I mean, I've seen. I forget what brand it was, but I've seen some pretty dramatic results in testimonials. Who really knows? But that's something that's.
I know.
Next down the road, I'm really looking into doing certain things like pomades, a texturizing hair clay. I mean, it's just the things that I used to use, but now I'm kind of like it's almost like our night cream with a little bit of pyrophyllite clay, eye-light clay, multani meaty, American ginseng, lion's mane powder. I'm telling you, it's gonna be but it adds a little. It's not gonna be available for dark hair just yet. So I want to do like a hair color specific texturizing hair clay. And then pomade. Yeah. And so it just adds a little weight, adds a little texture and malleability to the hair. And it looks like nothing's in there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I want to ask the question. Hopefully, are you good on time? You're
Absolutely.
Good? Yeah. Okay. Because I love vibing out with you, man.
Oh, man.
Because I'm also a podcast host and I love to interview people because it's a way for me to learn, but it's also a way for people to be a fly on the wall and to kind of understand like two minds, conversating about various things. One of the things I like to always bring up is so what is something that like would be noted as like a contraindication, or who would this not be for? Or, what have you come across like where people are like, well, it didn't quite work for me? Like, is there anything, because, obviously it's easy to have this conversation be shaped towards, oh, it's all amazing. It's perfect. It's, but like, let's be real a little bit,
Oh yeah. Oh, the mask smells brutal. You especially find it. Hey, you combine it with a little apple cider vinegar, you're gonna have clear out a room for sure.
So true, bro.
But here's the deal: you can add a little lemongrass, a little blood orange oil. You can make it. You can scent, but you can scent it, and to counteract a lot of the acidity and even the kelp powder. But I need to do a better job of explaining that, and also maybe even making an activator or just pointing people towards what to add to it. We do suggest a couple of essential oils. Lemongrass is great, ylang ylang, to counteract that, and then also it's very stimulating And so you're going to get the mask specifically. So you're going to get just bright red for about 30 to 40, because that's all that,
Oh, that's true.
yeah. And so that oh man, we get, it happens. We have it on like just a FAQ right now, just where we can just copy paste, like, please don't be alarmed. We think, on the first mask, we get a lot of emails just that they think that they had some type of reaction or something, but then it calms down to like, oh my God, I've never, seen my skin.
It's so true.
Or have it feel like this. So that's one thing. Let's see what else. I mean, okay. So, and then also with the natural product, separation does occur. So sometimes, just not having those synthetic emulsifying agents. I mean, I like to use, beeswax, cacao butter, a blend of essential oils and botanicals, Brazilian acai butter, things that, they're solids, oil and water, obviously. It's tough to get that emulsion. So sometimes you have to shake it up a little bit, being an all natural product. But so sometimes, the separation may occur in the pumping out and, applying the product. But let's see what else. Yeah. And then also, I base the products around my skin, which was very, very sensitive. And then so some, no, but it's pretty universal. I mean, our products are pretty universal. I mean, we haven't had too many complaints as far as it not working with any skin types, oily, combination, dry, normal. I think, it works for pretty much all skin types. However, if you're, another thing I would like to say, if you have, a really, really big case of acne, I would hold off on derma rolling before, if you have it, because you just reach bacteria. And then I would start off with using water as opposed to something as just really activating and stimulating as apple cider vinegar. If you have kind of a breakout or a history of cystic acne and acne in general, acneic skin just in general. But let's see what else. It's a good question. See, it's a tough one, but I love it. You're against. Why not?
Here's another one. I mean, and if you think of any of the other ones, feel free to throw them out there. But one of the things that I recall being like that's interesting is, and I don't know if it's still suggested to do this or not, but being that some of these things have like a sort of like a magnetic component to it, it's suggested not to use like a metal spoon or anything to mix, correct?
Right.
So, and when I first found this out, I was like, oh, that's interesting, because now there's an opportunity to go and find like the perfect tool. So I usually like to put it in ceramic or like glass or whatever. But what I found to be almost like perfect, like for doing the clay mask at least, is I take a shot glass or like a double shot glass, or like one of the wider ones, and I do my mixture in there, so that I'm not like, because no one wants to waste the product, right? Like you don't want to waste it. So for me, that's almost like the perfect amount, But do you have any ideas or thoughts with that and how people could do better?
Well, that's going to lead into another issue that I need to work on. This is on me. So I need to have an instrument, just a measuring.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's on me. And so, and then, it's a 1-to-1 mix, but at the same time, I mean, if you're, a little too much, now you have to add more to make it. Now it's a waste.
Exactly.
That's something. There we go. I mean, Manny, can you write that down?
Yeah, because, honestly, like I think for anybody listening, at least for me, I like to always like hack the hack, so to speak, right? And how do I make my life a little bit better? And so sometimes what I do is just whatever is the closest thing around. Okay, don't use metal. Okay, I got chopsticks. Or many times I just use my finger, to mix it, right? And so
on the road, in the hotel, it is.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe we don't always have shot glasses laying around, but that's kind of been my go-to. And I love the adding in the essential oils like you mentioned. So I think for people who haven't tried it, they should definitely try to throw that in there, because it's a way to kind of enhance it. I will definitely take your your lead on adding in various components to make it smell better, because it smells very earthy. Let's just say that it's very earthy.
Yeah, very earthy.
Yeah.
I just yeah, and you know, down the road we plan on making a like a pre-made mask, so you don't have to go through the trouble. You can just apply, but I want it completely different. I want to start from scratch. You know what I mean? Like, or maybe I'll make you know, the original clay mask pre-made. I just, man, yeah, maybe I'll do that, but, or just make a, you know, a brand new one, or you know, because it's just it's something that you can apply and stimulate that you know, just freshen up before meetings. Just something quick that you can. They're it's just extremely effective in doing that. But yeah, you're right. We need to get better literature. That's another thing this year is I want to step up our customer experience. You know, being a small, I mean, we have 4 employees. We should probably have 14 to 20. Really, we really should. And
but you guys are doing good though. You're doing well.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a yeah. And also, I want to say one thing.
I didn't catch that part. Okay, now I hear you now. You said you wanted to do what?
No, I mean, you mentioned Dave. I don't know if I mean that's the reason why Alitura is here. I mean, him giving me a chance. I want to make that. I'm eternally grateful to Dave and Bulletproof. Just
shout out to Dave Asprey and the Bulletproof crew. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you met him? You were an ambassador, I think, in the beginning too, or I don't even know how.
Yeah, I went through the Bulletproof coaching early on, but I did meet him. I got a chance to physically meet him. So I trained Roger Waters of Pink Floyd, and we were in Vancouver, like I forget what year, 2018, 2017, 2018. And while we were touring through Canada, you know, I hit up Dave and was like, hey, like, because I forgot even how I knew this, but I somehow found out, I think through his assistant or something, that he was a fan of Pink Floyd. So I was like, hey, you want to come to the show? And so he did, and you know, we had a good time hanging out. Yeah, so it was really good. But yeah, I love the fact that he has such an influence on this whole. I mean, he's known as a father of biohacking. So you know, if it wasn't for him, you know, I don't think I would be lost on what I'm doing, even, you know.
Yeah.
So, there was a question I wanted to ask, and this might be a stretch, but you know, whatever, it is what it is. But like, so I think about skin being the largest organ within the body, right? On the body or in the body or whatever. So is there an application in doing whole body? You know, like people go to the Dead Sea and, you know, they do this, you know, these baths and things like that. Like, is it ever going to get to that point? Is it necessary? Is it enough to just eat right? You know,
absolutely.
What are you thinking?
I would love, I mean, you ever go to hot springs? I'm sure you have, maybe upstate as well, probably in New York.
I haven't.
I'm a huge hot spring guy. I have to go to the Dead Sea. Absolutely. I mean, I feel like that's the best way to cleanse your body. I have friends of mine that do charcoal baths, baths. So people mess around and say, you know, have you ever done a clay mask, like a full on? I'm like, man, that'd be an expensive bath right there. But
it would.
But yeah, I mean, absolutely immersing yourself and just kind of just letting your body. I mean, there are I'm big on sauna, big on the sauna. You know, just whole body.
I saw somebody in the comments here asking about sauna. In fact, I wrote a comment, everybody. If you do have questions, why don't you use the question feature so we can answer a few of these. But somebody did ask about sauna recommendations, but feel free to say or not.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a sauna, I mean, towards the end of a clay mat, I mean, yeah. So what I do, I mean, I could talk on this all day long. I mean, do you use niacin in your protocol? That's something that just really also circulation wise, man. I mean, yeah.
I use niacin and hape. You know, the Amazonian herb.
Way. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. It's another level.
Can you message me your source for hape?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'd love that. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. That's another story, but yeah, it is. It's yeah, absolutely. I mean, sunlight. I'm big on sunlight. just, changing the oil, you just sweating at least 5 days a week in the sauna. Hot springs, and they're around here in Nevada. I would go over to Ojai at least twice a month. And when I lived in LA, just to go to this hot spring, I just feel like the sulfur component in that just can help with detoxifying our system. Doing that as much as possible. And, things like coffee enemas, colonics. I was about to say, I try to keep it simple. That's definitely not simple. I mean, there's so many different things that I do on. I mean, Normatec, you name it. I mean, cryotherapy. I jump in this pool every morning, 4 dunks, and then a 4-minute cold shower. I mean, we're weirdos, man. But that actually leads to another one. Shower filter is a big component for skin and hair health. I mean, I would say that's the biggest takeaway from this. I was in Arizona last week, and it's just, I mean, the shower, you can smell the chlorine and like just I don't know if you can smell the heavy metals, but it just doesn't smell like how it does after a good, hard water filter that you can get. I mean, I use, what is it? Oh, dang it. Aqua sauna, my bad. Yeah.
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 I've used for my shower, so I'm a big proponent of all things ozone. And so I do all the insufflations, all of them, right? So like rectal insufflation, nasal, ear. I even have a setup for eye drops. I haven't done it because I just haven't needed to do it. But I have an ozonated shower head. And then I also use ozone for all of my sinks as well. So it's pretty intense.
I need to thank, please. I'm gonna message you right after that. Thank you. No, I didn't even available. Yeah, I love that little Therasage O3. Yeah, that's what I use. But man, it's just, I mean, they're starting to have a treatment of my gums recently, and it's cool that they're starting to use it in dentistry as well. So
yes, it's big in dentistry. It's huge.
Yeah.
Another one that I think might interest you, and I've played around with it. And in fact, for those that are listening, I'm going to be doing a lot more conversations about the power of carbon dioxide. But I have an ability to use carbon dioxide for my shower treatments and for my hair as well. So I have this. I did a video. Actually, I see Mariah is here. She was helping me do video content when I was in LA for a while. But I used to have this shower head that connects to this. You could interchange the head, and you could put these tablets inside of the head.
Oh.
And those tablets were sodium bicarbonate, basically. So carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
And you can use that on your hair. You can use that on your skin. But I even if you get the right kind of carbon dioxide or the right kind of sodium bicarbonate, you can also just create like a spray bottle solution, and then just spray it on your skin, spray it on your hair. And again, you want to make sure you get a good quality one. But yeah, I think these kind of protocols are so inexpensive that you probably won't hear a lot of people talking about it because it's not going to be the moneymaker. Nobody's going to do the research because there's not enough profit to be made. So it takes a lot of money to do research in order to be able to get the profit. So it's a slippery slope, but I'm sure you get it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's how it all started. The DIY, curiosity from home, and then just doing your research. There's so much information available out there to all of us. And when there's a little, creative passion towards that, it can lead to something awesome. I mean, Etsy has some of the best, ingredients. Well, I mean, hopefully they're being truthful, but a lot of just independent, creators, formulators, business owners, smaller independent business owners. I mean, just with some of the most creative DIY formulations and things like that. So that's where it all starts. But yeah, I mean, definitely keeping it simple, but doing your research and then just using yourself as your biggest science experiment. How'd you find out about the sodium bicarbonate topically?
Dude, I'm a research fanatic. I mean, it's like, do you remember, since we're the same age, you probably remember the cartoon Curious George, the little monkey, right? So when I was growing up, I used to always literally like I would get like a remote control car, or I would get like a watch or something, and I would always take everything apart and then put it back together. Always, right? And I got to the point where people would call me Curious Josh because of the the cartoon Curious George.
Yeah.
So for me, when I think like, okay, this is something that's apparently really good, how can it be better? And how could it be worse? Like, how can you mess it up? And that's I think the job of scientists, the job of biohackers, is to actually look at the downside and the upside and everything in between. So I don't recall exactly how I came across it for using it topically, but I've been a fan of consuming sodium bicarbonate for years. I mean, I would say most mornings it's the first thing I ingest. Most
Really?
mornings.
So,
Yeah.
teaspoon of baking soda and
Yeah.
water, and then
Yeah. So I'm
uh,
the kind of guy that likes to eyeball everything, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
forgive me for not knowing the, milliliters and the ounces and all that, but that's what I have here. If people
Okay.
want to know, if people want to know like the best way to be alkaline, and there's a lot of hubbub over, pH versus alkalinity, and they're two different things.
Mm-hmm.
They're absolutely two different things, right? Like the pH of something may not have any sort of relevance towards the acidity or the alkalinity of that product, right? And so, and also our stomach acid, it's an acid. It's supposed to be acidic, but it's usually very acidic when we're about to eat or when we've just eaten
Uh-huh.
to break down food, right? It's not acidic all day long,
Uh-huh.
right? So the times that you want to consume something like this is when it's either like 30 minutes before eating or 2 hours after eating, so that you know that you've digested everything and you're not just kind of neutralizing the stomach acid.
Right.
So yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I just take like people probably want to build up because you can get, diarrhea and gas and all kinds of craziness
Yeah.
if you do too much. But the good thing is that if you do too much, your body knows how to excrete it, which is pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I just start with like a small teaspoon, half a teaspoon, a fourth of a teaspoon, and then by the time that you've done it as much as I do it, I just put a scoop into this. And like, you can buy one of my favorite brands so far is called Active pH Restore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can get that on Amazon or Water and Wellness. And it's literally like $25 or $30 for a 6-month supply.
Really?
Yeah. And it's like, this is a no-brainer for people. I mean, if people don't understand, if they don't take anything away from this, they should take away the fact that, moderating our CO2 and O2 levels in the body is one of the most important things we can do. And our body will do anything it can to try to maintain that homeostatic level, to maintain that balance, even if it means extracting calcium from your bones, even if it means taking whatever it needs from your organs, it's going to do that. And so if we can help it out a little bit, then we're going to be on our way to doing a lot better.
Right.
So
Right. Have you heard of Ian Mitchell?
yeah. Yeah.
He has some new. I heard.
Apparently it's Ian Mitchell. Apparently.
Oh, Ian. Oh, yeah. That's right. So if he has some new. I forget what it's called, but they were just raving about it at the Upgrade Biohacking Conference in Orlando.
Is it iodine?
No. It's his new. He has that C. I think it's the C60 supplement.
Okay.
But he has a new. I forget what it is. It's like a purplish color, but yeah, I mean he's a big proponent of carbon and
maybe it's CK4. It might be CK4.
mm-hmm.
I seem to remember hearing something. There's a brand that I like called I Am Joy, and they tend to follow what Ian is doing apparently. And I've seen that they've come out with a CK4, but I'll have to look into that. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, peptides, carbon. I mean, man, it just keeps growing year after year. Just obviously considering how passionate we are, in this, and just experiencing the benefits of the things that do work is pretty pretty thrilling, man. I mean, I'm 40. I really do feel like I feel better than I did in my early 20s. Yeah, you know what I mean? Some days are
Yeah.
better than others. I mean, this week's been a wild one because of, just obviously Cyber Week going on, not much sleep. But yeah, I mean, it's beautiful with what is going on, and just the different hacks. I'm looking at my Juve light. I got the Therasage here, the Happy Brain Tap, you name it. I mean, it's just.
Yes, sir. I'm looking here. Mina Hi GB. Sorry if I'm butchering your last name, Mina, but he or she says, wow, just check your products and I need them all. Do you guys deliver to United Kingdom?
I mean it. Yeah, no, we absolutely do. UK, Canada are probably our top two, but yeah, we're in 89 countries now.
Wow,
Yeah, we
dude.
secured UK um, uh, exclusivity, Australia, and we're working on Southeast Asia. I really need a Canada distributor as well. So who knows? Maybe that's next. But yeah, it's we absolutely ship to UK, Mina. So let us know if you have any questions. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I think I hit all the questions on here. I saw there was one. Adriana asked if you can mix the essential oils with the clay. We touched on that. The answer
yeah.
is yes.
And I'm working on making like possibly a peptide and essential oil blend, almost like an activator for the mask. You know what I mean? Like I just
Mm-hmm.
define, yeah. I mean, obviously GHK comes right to mind, but BPC 157. I don't know if you're into peptides at all.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Epicatechin, however you say
Hell
that.
yeah, epithathlone or something. How do you
However, whatever it's called.
telomere extended?
Epic something. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that stuff. And BPC 157 is my staple. Mina wants to be your distributor, by the way.
absolute. Well, aren't you in the UK?
Yeah, you're like, well,
Well, no, I'd
most.
love that. I just we need one in Canada, UK. We're actually Functional Self, Warren Turner, really good friend of mine. So he's got that. He's got the UK covered. But I appreciate any introduction to Canada. It'd be great. Or just, yeah, we just want to expand. It's and then also the just letting you know. I mean, the biggest thing right now is just getting a COO or a GM to take, just so I can put bows on products. I mean, we have like 6 products that are about 60% done in our meteorite scrub, which is done. It takes a lot longer when you're managing the business and then trying to create and then getting back to it. It's a lot, but look, that's why you have to be obsessed with what you do if you want to be, what does Parker say? The Washington. What's up, Parker? How you doing, man?
uh, Someone here in the question used the question feature. Facing the storm is the name. Facing underscore the underscore storm.
Mm-hmm.
He or she asked, "What is the benefit of Santal Black? I really like it."
Oh, nice. Yeah, so Santal Black, and that's it. I'm going to send that to you just to experiment with your hair, just to see what you like. Because it smells so good, dude.
Bro, if my hair falls out, I'm gonna be pissed, dude.
Oh, no way.
I'm playing.
Uh, so it's a blend. So it's started off with it just as like a hair and body. Well, all right. So that product, I originally made it. Jake Arrieta is a pitcher for. Well, at the time he was pitching for the Cubs, and then he got traded to the Phillies, and then ended up with the Padres last year. But he has a huge beard. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. He was the Cy Young Award-winning pitcher, won the World Series with.
Oh yeah.
Just such a good dude. So he and I were going to go in on a beard oil. And that kind of fizzled out a little bit. But what I created was, it had 2 different kinds of sandalwood, bergamot, a little black pepper, and a little Madagascar vanilla in there. It's just sweet, smoky, it's unbelievable. It smells incredible. We're actually, our second deodorant is going to be scented like that. But so what it does, it's a multifaceted hair, body oil, personal lubricant. I dab a little underneath my arms is a little bit of a deodorant. It can be a fragrance alternative. It just smells incredible, and it's a good post sun wash. It's 96% organic. It's a blend of really gentle essential oils, but it's like a massage oil, hair, body. A lot of people use it for flyaways in their hair. But yeah, it smells incredible, and that's a product that I have a really difficult time. I mean, how does it? Because if it's a moisturizer, I mean, why would you use that instead of body lotion? But it's I'm still trying. It's just, I mean, beard oil, hair, body. It's overall, it's a very good blend of very potent, effective, concentrated essential oils and botanicals. So yeah,
I see. Yeah, thank you for that. It's very thorough. I appreciate it.
yeah.
I see here VJ NYC says or asks any future hair loss reversing products. I think we talked a little bit about that, but I don't think we addressed it specifically.
It just has to be. It's just not woo woo and all the, because that's something, it has to be effective and work and 100% be just from the earth, from me. And unless we can get something, I mean, peptides, or who knows down the road, right? If we make some type of peptide derived, man, maybe I should hold off and do that. I don't know, but it's gonna
GHK, copper,
exactly. Yeah.
the C60. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, yeah. Maybe even the horsetail, with the DMSO stuff that Yum Naturals is doing. Maybe there's a mixture there. And they're I don't know if you know that company, Yum Naturals, spelled YUM, but maybe there could be a connection there with the whole distributor thing, because they're very small, and I know I mean, I don't know them personally, but I've talked to them several times, and I'm hoping to get them on my actual podcast at some point. But I've been a big fan of DMSO for a very long time, and I forget the lady's name, but she has been using it for everything from toothpaste. So I use their toothpaste with like charcoal and all kinds of other stuff in it, and there's so much that I did not realize if you just dilute it properly, because it's a very deep carrier oil or product, and so it can take whatever it has with it very deep into the body. So you have to be very careful with how you use it and things like that. But if it's done in the right way, it can be a very, very magnificent compound to add to whatever program or regimen you're doing. So it might be something to look into, bro.
Yeah, I think you just added an active to some of a future formula. I'm gonna do a lot of research on that and figure out how that potentially could end up in a component in our product, and a product down the road. No, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Let's see here. What's up, Tammy? Tammy True Blue right there. She's awesome. She's been there since.
Oh yeah. Hey Tammy.
Yeah.
You've been very active on the comments. I love it.
Oh, that's awesome. What's up, Katya? Bob Linville, another great guy. Yeah, I mean, it's just, how it is. I don't know how you got, well, probably from athletics, but whatever drew you to where you are, helping others get it's addicting, helping others just feel better, reach a goal, a skincare goal, a fitness goal, health, wellness, mental, whatever it is. It's just helping others, man.
I can 100% vouch for that, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I can answer that comment, that question, which is, a lot of people don't know this, but I have a book coming out soon. It should be ready at the very beginning of this year, this new year coming up. And my reasons for sort of doing all that I do in health and wellness is because my family, I'm from Oklahoma, we're in the middle of America, is probably the worst when it comes to like obesity. But my family, especially on my dad's side, are morbidly obese. And my dad is morbidly obese and has been sick for a while now, especially throughout COVID. He got COVID, did very well. He did better than I did when I got it. But that's the good news side of it. But the bad side of that is that like I think he felt invincible almost, right? Because he's a martial artist. He owns like a karate school that I grew up in, and that has been in our hometown for 30 years or more, almost, yeah, like 40 years. Because he had a school before I was born. I'm 40, so there you go. And most people are like, well, wait a minute, I thought your dad was a multiple black belt and and all these things, and why can't you help him? Haven't you helped him? And I'm like, well, yes, but you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, right? And I've done everything I can, and I'm at the point now where it's like, I've seen my dad in the last 6 months or so on his deathbed 3 times in the same hospital, right? So he's been in the hospital for over 6 months now. And he finally has gotten from, he was like 510 pounds down to 340 pounds now, right? And a lot of that is, you know, being on a renal diet, you know, having dialysis, all kinds of things. But we're on the tail end of him now doing a lot better. And I have some protocols that I know I will be able to do with him, but I have to wait until he's well enough to get out of the hospital. Because as you know, like the things that I bring into the hospital, I want to bring in carbon dioxide, dry baths. I want to do electrical muscle stimulation. I want to do ozone treatments, all these things. But the hospital, it's not their job to allow people to come in. The first thing they think is insurance. And if it's not on their agenda,
Yep.
then it's like, nah, no. We need to keep him here for a certain amount of time because insurance is paying for it. You know, what you do outside of here, that's on you, you know? So I'll be doing more videos and conversations around that topic because he's finally on the upward trend of doing better. And also even my mom, I mean, you know, they're divorced, but like my mom has certain health issues she's dealing with. And it's all about like doing the most that I can for myself, for my family, for my friends, for my clients, and the rest of the world. And for those that want to try to benefit from my experiences, I would never claim that I'm a doctor or I have all the data points on anything, but experience is powerful, you know? And this is why I was drawn to you and your brand, because of your story. And I think stories shape our history. Stories shape the world, right? And so when you have a powerful story, we can then fast forward a few years later, and here we are talking to people that I've never even talked before. They're, you know, that are on this chat, you know. So this is why I do what I do.
Like, man, that's awesome. And how beautiful is it that your dad, how good does it feel that he's coming around to your tutelage? You know what I mean? 170 pounds, that's huge. But I understand, I can relate to maybe it. I don't know if it was frustrating for you, but sometimes when you, yeah, like you said, lead the horse to water and you can't, you know, force him to drink. I mean, you put a lot of things in there, but especially when you're so, it's your heart, it's a loved one.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. And it's a total ripple effect situation for me. And you're right. You know, it's just stories, relatable stories, natural, authentic stories, recovery, and just bouncing back from some adversity. It's just, I mean, we can all relate to that. That's extremely, yeah, relatable, and it's something that we all have in common. It's just bouncing back when you're down and out, and hearing other people's stories can help you, you know, lift you in your own road to recovery or whatever it is. So yeah,
Yes,
that's
sir.
beautiful, man. I'm happy for you and your father, you know.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And I realize we have gone, I mean, we're like well over an hour, but it's been
Nah,
for
dude,
me it's been fascinating. And
me too.
you know, and I'm actually shocked and surprised that I hadn't reached out to have you come on my podcast. But maybe we should try to plan that at some point, because I
Oh,
think,
I'd love to.
you know, we could talk about there, you know, the platform. We can go as long as we want, and we can just have a party. And I've started to do it more visually anyway, via virtual.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, as long as you've got a good camera setup and it looks like you do,
Yeah.
you know, maybe we should do that. And I would encourage, once we do set that, if we do set it,
Mm-hmm.
those that are in this video and this chat, they should come and check it out, because I think we'll be able to really explore more about your background for people who don't know you, and maybe we have more conversations about future products and toys.
And
Yeah,
DMSO.
exactly. Yeah, dude.
Uh,
I'm also one of the things that I did not get a chance. I didn't mention, but I'll just mention quickly. Is I'm glad that you're tackling the deodorant space, because the one of the things that I use when it comes to deodorant is an ozone based deodorant, right? So
yeah.
you can ozonate like various oils. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah.
And one of the ones I use, they use like essential oils with it, and it'll be like jojoba oil, but it's an ozone based deodorant that works really well. And
Yeah.
the company is Promo Life. That's where I get mine from. And so like and that's pretty simple. Like, you know, especially if you ever wanted to get into doing it. Like, I have the best longevity resources. I think Dave also uses longevity resources when it comes to ozone,
Mm-hmm.
but you can ozonate your own oils, and it's it's beyond like the best, most amazing stuff you can find. You know, so like you get like an ozonated hemp oil
Uh,
or ozonated olive oil.
Man, that's what I wanted to use as my carrier. I couldn't
Dude,
find it in bulk, and so it got to the point. I'm definitely looking them up. So it's yeah, it got to the point where I almost bought a full-on ozonating machine to start. Yeah, I mean, to add, I don't know what it's. Well, I mean, to get the O3 component into our carriers and into our formulas.
I
Yeah.
got you, bro. We
Oh
should
man.
talk. We should talk offline because
Yeah.
I know exactly how it's done. I do it. In fact, I do it to. So really quick tangent. Um, most people who know about ozone know that you should not inhale it, and this is true. You should not inhale it, but there is a such thing known as nasal insufflation, which is breathing in ozonides, not ozone, but the ozonides. So the carrier, the olive oil is probably the best when it comes to being a carrier oil for ozone. What it does is the oil extracts the harmful part of ozone and creates ozonides so that you're inhaling the ozonides. And that, once it hits various components in the body, it automatically turns into oxygen, very potent oxygen. And so we know that oxygen is a very powerful antifungal, parasitic agent, and any disease states cannot survive in the presence of oxygen, right?
Yeah.
So most disease states only survive in an anaerobic state. So when you can take ozone and bubble it through olive oil, you can breathe in the ozonides that come off the olive oil, and then what's left is this thick residue known as ozonated olive oil. And
Yeah.
so if you do it long enough and you do it, several times, it won't produce the ozonides anymore. So then it would become toxic, but you can just keep running the ozone in there, cap it, and then that turns into a very thick gel, and that becomes your ozonated olive oil source.
And I mean, I O3 Gold. I don't know if you remember that. And then a friend of mine, Pure O3. Yeah, there's several
Yeah,
brands out there. Sunflower seed oil.
actually,
Yeah.
Pure O3 is the deodorant. Pure O3, that's the deodorant. Pure
Oh,
O3.
okay.
I said Promo Life. It's
Oh,
Pure
okay.
O3. Sorry. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for clearing that up. Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, man. I think I first heard of ozone from Anthony Kiedis's book Scar Tissue way back in the day. It just because it,
Oh wow.
yeah, just I forget what he was getting it for, but and just yeah, I found Crosby, a friend of mine, told me about O3 Gold, and then I started doing. I mean, this was probably 2013, and then I contacted them directly. I wanted to use their ozonated olive oil as a carrier and in my base formula for the moisturizer. And I mean, down the road as well for everything, as well as I mean, seriously, I mean, get this. I may buy, well, I may either work with a spring. I'm telling you, it's oh man, there's so much. Anyway, spring in Northern California, I may either buy it, and I'm working, going back and forth on that to use their water. Either it's incredible. It's a hot spring, but it's drinkable. I may use that in my products, filtered. I mean, it's anyway, yeah, as my water base or something or another product down the road about
Ooh.
a blue zone oriented, like kind of like skin longevity specific product. But anyway, yeah, it's just I could go on and on and on about this stuff, but
I love it, man.
yeah, no, that's a really good idea. I mean, yeah, as far as the getting the bubbler to work with our oils and some of our formulas, and yeah, that's something I definitely want to do, and I've been
Yeah.
trying to do. It's just tough to get that in bulk, especially with the ozone. Not, yeah, I mean it's a shorter shelf life, but we can figure that part of it out.
Yeah, exactly. You're spot on. Yeah, it's like normally in order for the ozone to stay effective and potent. It
Mm.
needs to be and like refrigerated.
Mm.
So that's one of the things that like is a potential downside. To your point, very very true. But yeah, yeah, there. I could most likely, if you needed to or wanted to, I could put you in touch with the guys at Longevity Resources. I'm sure they'd be happy to talk with you. They're based in Canada as well, so there
Nice.
is another potential there for you with your products. But
Right.
like they have the in terms of what I've been able to research and utilize, they have the most stringent qualifications for their ozone process, and that's very important,
Yeah,
especially when you're
it's
taking it internally.
right.
You know, if
Right.
you're just trying to sort of eliminate odors in a home, like smoke or whatever, then like it doesn't matter where your source comes from.
Mhm.
But when you're ingesting it or consuming it somehow, putting it on your skin or whatever, you want to have the highest quality, and they do the best. And they have a facility in which they're just running ozone through oils for like days, weeks, and months,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So you would want to probably talk to them if anything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's huge. I will definitely look into them.
yeah,
No, I appreciate that. That's it.
of
I had no
course.
idea, and especially the shower head too. I mean, you're onto it, man.
Trying, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
kindred spirit, man. Like minded. I appreciate you.
exactly.
Yeah.
Um, okay, bro. This has been amazing. This has
Yeah.
been fun.
Heck.
I see a lot of new people waving. People I don't know. I'm sure people that know you and vice versa. So I hope that my listeners and followers, I hope you guys got a chance to really learn a lot from Mr. Andy Hnilo, and vice versa. I hope that the people who follow you learn a little bit about what I do, and I really do hope we stay connected, and
Oh yeah.
let's try to figure out a podcast soon, man.
Yeah, let's definitely do the podcast. And again, thank you so much for having me on. I definitely learned a lot on this, especially from skincare as well. So thank you. I appreciate it. And so
No, thank you,
you're
bro.
awesome, man. I appreciate everyone who joined on this. And yeah, let's do it again. I'll hop on the podcast anytime. Let's do it.
Awesome. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm gonna save this and we're gonna put it up later.
Good.
Peace.
Again, Josh.
See you, buddy.